Cool. Good. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Dominika, and today I'll be talking to you about Gatsby. I wanted to do a little bit of an intro before I change my slide, but I am an engineer, project engineer at Performance Software, which is based out of Phoenix, Arizona. We test airplane software, just trying to keep up with the latest tech. So that is partly why I joined Women Who Code, and also started helping out volunteering as a director in the Boulder chapter. And I encourage everyone to volunteer if they like what they see. I think it's an awesome organization, and we do a lot. I met a lot of friends through it, and I've learned a lot as well. Okay. So Gatsby. Gatsby is a React framework for building complex websites and applications. I heard of it a couple, like maybe a year ago, but I've heard of that it's been a very fast framework to get started in web. And I wanted to check it out, so I decided to pursue it more for this project that I will talk about. It was founded by Kyle Matthews, who is also, and I think he's even currently a lead maintainer. Whenever I searched for issues that I had building this project, I would see his name pop up in GitHub answering questions. So I think he's very active still. And Sam Bagwat. It was created in 2015 for just a simple, fast way to build a website, maybe even faster than just using React by itself. So Gatsby kind of works on the latest web development stuff that's out there, mainly React, Webpack, GraphQL, and it tries to utilize modern JavaScript and CSS and just the latest things that I've heard. It lets you use, what's also cool about it, it lets you use any data that you would like to pull in from many sources, like a headless CMS or a SaaS service or API calls. It's also a progressive web app tech, so generator, that's what I wrote. And I've also seen wordage such as static website generator, but they don't actually say that on their website, but because I think it does like a lot more than just being just a static website generator. Something else I like about it, it was pretty easy to get started. I got started pretty much one weekend night. I got everything up and running. So it's definitely easy. And it was built for speed, which is another reason I liked it and I wanted to learn about it more. So this is what they have on their website about how it kind of works together. You have your data sources, like I mentioned. You can have Markdown files too, to use as your content. Anything that I think a React app would use. And then it's built on GraphQL and then just the basic React stuff such as HTML, CSS, and React. And then you can deploy it to various web hosting clients. For this project that I built, I'm using Netlify, the first one that's listed there, but there's many more that you can make this work with. I found this an interesting picture about where the Gatsby framework kind of fits in. Sorry, there's my dog. So it is, one of the creators talked about, he wrote a good blog post about the modular architecture, and he wanted, I think, to give a picture about how how it fits into how Gatsby fits into this modular architecture. And you can see it on the right. It's inside that content mesh box. So it's supposed to kind of do everything those blue content system items that you see. The cool thing about this is that you can use Gatsby for that part of it, and you can plug in different parts like a different deployment. So it's very modular, which is what I liked about this, because I think it's kind of the future of everything, where all the tech is heading. And then the left picture represents how more traditional full stack architecture looks like WordPress. That this is kind of, I thought it was a cool representation of where Gatsby stands. So when you create a new Gatsby project, this is kind of the file structure that you will see. And I wanted just to show how it's pretty much what a React app is. I haven't worked with React myself. I don't think I think I only created one project, maybe a couple, but so I'm not sure apart from that what would be the similarities. But from what I understand in the project, it's just like a React project, but there's just different folders that you deal with. And they also have their like own config files, so, and configuration you can do. All right, so this is what career returnship is what I built the project with. I think some of the members are here today, and we meet like it's another event of the Boulder Denver chapter that we do with Women Who Code, and it's about trying to get women careers, help them out if they are returning to their careers. So my friend Rafna is running it, and it's pretty cool because we try to get women skills, whatever they need to get their next job. So whether it's interviewing or just working on projects with people and like getting exposure that way. There's many different things, so I encourage everyone to check it out. And I joined this Everyday Heroes podcasting team to build a podcast that Rafna has found for a client. So that's the project I'll be talking about today. I wrote some notable lessons. So I will show you guys the project after, but I wanted to kind of go over it, like the thing that stood out to me when I was building this, because apart from just a simple setup of a website, you know, these are the things that like I haven't worked with myself before. So I learned just by doing this project. And the most complicated one that I've done so far, which was really fun, was making a form with validation. So it was pretty fun. I've never actually needed to do one for my job or even like school before. So that's what I remember doing so far. That was kind of interesting. So for that piece, I used Netlify. But the whole website uses Netlify. That's where we're deploying. But another like cool React plugin, I think, was React Hook Form. It's just like also like a library that provides, you can build really nice looking forms with it. So it's kind of cool because this also shows you that you can, you know, I think it's built for React. So it's just a React library, and that will also work with Gatsby. So anything that works for React will work with Gatsby pretty much. Another library I used that I liked was Yup. It was a JavaScript schema builder. So it kind of gave me the parsing, the code I needed to do the validations. And it looks very nice, because I think if I build it from scratch, it would be a lot more code. And so I just decided to use the library to see how this will go. But another thing I learned was doing CSS modules. I haven't done CSS in a long time, so it was a really cool way to learn how to locally scope CSS. So just making CSS that like changes something specific on a site, or a I don't know, like a header. You want the CSS to only apply to the header. So it was really useful, and I thought it was really cool, the modules. So I recommend people checking it out, and also learn a little bit about GraphQL. I worked, the only other thing that's similar that I worked with is like SQL in school. So this was a little bit different, but it was pretty cool. I learned a little bit about how to query for like an API call, and also query for the items in your project, which I thought it was a very cool feature of this, that you can do that just using, just making a call for your file system for a specific item. Whoops. And my next challenge for this project is to hook it up to a headless or a content management system, because we're trying to build a part of the podcasting site where like my client can log in and like add an episode of the podcast. So he could do that by himself without like us having to build it each time or create it into the website. And now I'm going to show you the project. Hold on, I think I might have to stop sharing and then reshare. One more time. Okay. Can you still hear me? Yeah, okay. All right. So yeah, this is how it looks like currently. I'll show you my little form validation. Oh, it's already kicking in. So if I don't fill out the other fields, it's supposed to give a message. If it's empty, it's supposed to also complain. What else I can show you about it? It's sort of generic. I mean, nothing else crazy is going on in it. It's just static web elements. But we're still working on it, so it's a work in progress. I added some episode recently to show the podcast that already exist for a client, but I have to work on making them easy for my client to actually upload himself, because right now this was all me. I just coded it in. I think I can go back. Does this show my slides okay again? Okay. Okay, so this is one of my recommended tutorials. This is pretty much how I was up and running with a very nice looking blog that Andrew here helps you like create. This is like a full tutorial of pretty much a basic Gatsby app that's pretty complex. So I feel like he makes little chapters that you can skip to for different things he's implementing. and there's like 20 of those things. I feel like each one is something useful that everyone can take away as a developer, or even put like on their resume. But yeah, it's pretty long. It's 5 hours, but it does go over a lot of detail. Andrew is also a really good teacher. He has some Udemy courses that I've watched or bought. He explains everything very well, so that's why I like to follow his stuff. He kind of explains it like he would to a 5-year-old, not even necessarily a developer, because he'll explain why you're doing what you're doing. So I definitely recommend him. And I also added my sources, so later when I share the slides, if you would like to check it out, you can. And I think that's it for this part, but I was also going to show you some of the code. And I also am open to questions. It looks like my code turned off, my app. Does anyone have any questions?
Hi, thanks, Dom. Hi. I have a quick question. You said to build this app, you didn't need to use any React?
No.
Cool.
I mean, it is React if you think about it, but Gatsby just takes all your code the way you have written it and kind of reconfigures it into being a React app.
Okay.
And I think it's in this folder. So like if I open one of these files in this public folder, it will look very, not very readable for a human, but I assume for a machine it's no problem. But I think it just rewrites it as a React app in here. But yeah, my actual project is just a source folder, and then the only thing I had to interact really was with the Gatsby config for configuration, and maybe here checking some stuff, package.json, yeah. But yeah, other than that, this is my whole project, which is kind of cool because I haven't built anything in React in a while, or Gatsby, so I thought it was kind of amazing just to this is just like my indexed HTML page, really, which is very short and not a lot of code, which is kind of cool. I think when I was going to school, everyone always got excited if you can make something shorter and cleaner. So it's kind of cool from that aspect, but I most of the stuff that I built, I kind of put it in its own component. So I can, if I needed to put the component in multiple places, I could. But also, what else? I think it's this is definitely like a React thing, I believe, like writing components versus as you would a traditional website. But yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, of course. What else can I say about it? Do you want to see anything specific, Jen?
I'm curious about the Markdown and how that works to put it into a page.
Okay.
So do you have to regenerate the files, or what's the process like?
So I have a file right here. Should I make this bigger? Oh God.
Oh, it's good.
Clicking things. Okay. So you can see it pretty good. So here's an episode. I pretty much took some information that from multiple sources, because our client's hosting their podcasts on one provider, and they're called Buzzsprout. So this was just me playing around a little bit, because I don't want it obviously like this, because I think it will get tiring recreating this for each episode, however many there are. But it definitely works for like a blog post if you know, if you're writing blog posts or I don't know, just whatever you want that you would require words, maybe just other information that I think you would have to store like this. But if let's see, there's definitely interesting libraries out there for this, where, for example, for those, I think this is my call to get the actual information from that file, from the Markdown files. I think this is a function that's part of either Gatsby. I think it's Gatsby actually. Have you seen it in React, Jen? Or do you know what that is?
Oh, it looks like they use static query as part of Gatsby.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this one is just looking for the information from those Markdown files, and then I am using this node or this query call, and I'm getting the information from it here. I'm just displaying it to the site. Wait, it's pretty clean. I mean, I like how it's pretty short and succinct to like what, you know, this podcast website's doing, for example. So I like how I'm able to do that in one file. But as I said before, I think I'm going to move to an API call to that headless CMS manager. So hopefully then it will just, when my client uploads a new episode or adds the links, because it won't be actually uploading. I think he will add like some URL calls, and I think that's how I'll be able to grab the information, since it's we're not hosting the episodes, they're hosted at a different service. And there's also audio files that I didn't implement yet, but they're hosted on actually those are the Buzzsprout, and his video episodes are from Vimeo, which is somewhere else. So he actually has two formats for the podcast, and we're trying to actually come up with a nice way to display that on one site. So there's some design challenges we're having right now and discussions, but that's pretty much it. It's very standard, I feel. We don't have a lot going on still. We have a success page for when they commit a form, so they'll just see a thank you and it's successfully committed. 404 that just the standard something's happening, page not found, and then about one that we're supposed to still fill with information about my client. And I guess contact. Oh, I guess that I can show you that fun part I did. The contact form. That probably is the one that has the most code. It's the biggest file. But yeah, so here's what I'm using that library to shape like my schema that I want a name, email, and contact, and they have to be valid. So this library kind of has built-in functions that like check if an email is an email and all this. So it's nice to use that, or a name is a name. So I don't have to build that myself for the validation. And other than that, it's pretty basic form, except it's hooked up to Netlify, so there might be some specific Netlify things. But Netlify is pretty cool that it's able actually to handle all this data coming in from someone filling out the form. It's able just to store it in Netlify and then send either like one of me, like a dev person, a message, or our client will get an email with the data inside of it. And it's for free, so it's pretty awesome. I don't know how else I would do this. I think I'll have to pay have some sort of paid services, I think. Yeah, so I think this is pretty cool. Netlify, I hear also has other services which I might use. They have some sort of like, I think roles built in, or authentication, which I might need for the part of the part I'm trying to build with the client, so he can log in and be authorized to add episodes. Yeah, so I never built anything like that. I'm pretty excited, so we'll see what happens. But Netlify is supposed to be able to also handle that when someone signs in. That's what Jordan showed me, who's another director in our chapter. But yeah, is there any more questions or anything else anyone would like to see?
The routing, like how do you do with the routing?
The routing?
Yeah. Like you use like React routing?
I think actually most of like I think that stuff is also handled by Netlify, because I actually didn't have to do any routing.
Oh.
Yeah.
And how do you connect with the root, the HTML? Like, do you have like app.js or like index? You know, like.
Yeah. So this index.js is my main page, but I didn't have to configure it. I think Gatsby does that on its own, because I think it will just create it. I don't think I have to configure anything special for it. That's the nice thing about it.
The index.js and it connected for you?
Yeah, it connected for me pretty much. It probably lives somewhere here, like an actual file that looks like the React.
You have to run something for Gatsby to like generate the files.
Mm-hmm. They have their own like command line interface commands, and I was gonna try to go there if I can open a new tab. So this is Gatsby. Also, I don't know if I mentioned, but their documentation is really good. That's why it's also easy to really get started. But actually, let me show you. This one. We just actually copied a very common starter that they have. So they have a lot of starters which are nice, which are pretty much pre-built websites. You can just copy them and then adjust them as you want, and you know, make your own whatever someone created. Like they had one where it was like a blog website that had already a content management system built in. And so I copied that and tried to play around with it, but it was very overwhelming. Too many things going on, and I don't understand what's where yet. So I decided to instead create something more clean and more simple, which was this project I copied. I wish they had the name of it. It was it's like called Gatsby Starter. I think I removed it from this README. I think it's one of their most easier ones. I think they tell everyone to choose this as a starting point. And to run it, you will you do pretty simple. You pull it, clone it, you do your npm modules install. Then you go in and you just call it by saying gatsby develop, and it should start running an instance on your local machine. And then you can open it in the browser the way it looks, so you can look at it. And then this is just for the dev team, so we tell everyone to create their own branches when they work on it. What else I could tell you about it? Simple. Actually, the really cool thing about Gatsby and Netlify too, they work very well together. So they even have like an automatic deploy button. I took it off this README, but if you pull down Gatsby and then start playing copy the starter project and then just deploy to Netlify. If you click the button, you can actually already have an instance of it running on your Netlify account. So it would be live without anything, you having to do anything, which is kind of cool. It makes it very easy to get started. I think Jordan will actually have a Gatsby person come in to talk to us to do another talk probably, but just more professionally, because I think it'll be a person that works there, and it should be coming for like it's a front end meetup that's part of Women Who Code Denver. So if you guys want to check out more or learn more from like an actual expert, I recommend coming and being on the lookout in our events. But yeah, I think I'm done unless there's other questions.
I have another question.
Okay.
How does, I've never used GraphQL, so what data do you have stored there and how is it kind of interacting with your app?
So for that part, I followed that tutorial I shared, and it's already built in. So when you start running a Gatsby project, you'll be already running it. So it kind of helps you, test your API calls and stuff. And Andrew in the tutorial, he goes over it very, very well, actually. So I learned a lot from just looking at his stuff. But it's very simple, I think. I thought it was kind of hard. I was kind of intimidated by that topic whenever I heard someone talking about it. But it's actually not that bad. I think once you do a couple projects and try it out. Do you use GraphQL, Jen, at your work?
Yeah, we do. It's really just like a layer that sits in between whatever your data source is and your how you want to interact with that data. So it makes like the querying really easy. So I'm guessing in this case, like Netlify is storing all of your data, right? Mm-hmm. And then you use GraphQL to easily query from it. But you could use GraphQL with like a Amazon Dynamo database or like a SQL database.
Oh, okay. So it's not like a database.
Yeah, no.
Interacting with the database.
It's like, how you query in the middle.
So it's kind of like a middleware? If you look at it as far as an infrastructure, like it's in the middle, it's taking the input.
I would call it more like a querying language, does anyone know the phrase for that? I don't know how they describe themselves.
Kind of like an ORM.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Yeah. It's real simple. There's a tool that when you are working on your site, it has like a little query builder. So you almost don't even need to know how to query. You just kind of click on things and then it builds the query for you and you can just copy and paste it in.
Yeah, that's I think what I utilized, because that's what Andrew shows you, and then he kind of explains why you would use it. But I've used the tool and then I just pasted it into the code when I got the query out of the tool.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the strengths of Gatsby in general, is it turns everything into something that can be queried by GraphQL.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So no matter what you're connecting to, it makes one interface so that you don't have, 9 different ways to connect to things, basically.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought that was really cool feature of it.
yeah,
For sure.
that's cool. Thanks, everyone.
How did you choose Gatsby over like all the other possible ones?
I'm not sure. I think I've just heard it on the internet,
Me too.
on the webs, and then I was like,
Popular one. Oh, don't do
yeah,
that.
yeah, I'll give this a try. There's definitely a lot, so yeah.
I got a question about your styles and how they're connected with your components. How you did that. So I know that, I mean, your styles aren't embedded in the components in the modules themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You
just want to see how I did the styling?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. Maybe index would be good. Actually, yeah. There's a styles folder I have with an index SAS file, which has I think it's something that I copied from the tutorial that I did, but it's a big list of everything that could have a style, and it has like a very minimal style. It's very simple, or as simple as I've seen some CSS. But I copied it from that tutorial, so I don't know if it's like a template that lives somewhere out there, or if it's his own template that he recommends. But it worked well after the fact, after I made the website styled to what our designers made it to be. So I just kind of kept it here for now. But I've tried to use components as much as I could. That's why it's so very short and very small, the actual websites or pages that live right here. So I tried to build a component for everything. I'm not sure if that's the best idea for everything, but I guess I'll learn when I get there. So like this landing is like the upper section of the website, or this main website. I'm trying to think why I wanted it as a component. Maybe I wanted to move it other places at one point. So here I'm using GraphQL to interact with this like Gatsby library that's out there, that's supposed to make the images load in very nicely and fast and do some magic. It's using GraphQL to call a query to use that library, but also trying to pull in the image that's in my file system for this section of the website. So it's pretty cool. There's definitely a lot of things that it does well. Let me see if I can show you on the website. So if I open it, I think it's cached now, so you can't really see it. But it's pretty fast out of the box. Well, it's one of the things I've heard about it, that's why I wanted to kind of explore and see how it is. But it's supposed to load this image very gradually, have a little blur effect. Same with the logo. Another thing about, I don't know if it's the same library or a different one, but it's supposed to be responsive to a point. I had to play around with it because like I didn't want the actual logo here to be that blurry when you first load in. I wanted it to be more static, but I didn't care about the image. So sometimes I turn off this feature that's supposed to auto size this picture according to how wide the browser is. But you can see there's like a big jump from like a big one to a small one, because over here I just built the responsiveness myself because I wanted a static image. So it's might not be the best way to do that. That's just something that I found that it worked for now. Yeah, I'm still exploring it. We'll see. There's sometimes bugs with some of the libraries that will happen, I think, for any framework or things that kind of in flux always. But I have found a lot of issues like asked and answered on the web. So I was able to find a solution most of the time. So I think it's pretty cool that the community, the Gatsby community, is very active, and you're never really alone when you work on this. And if someone probably already asked the question that you'll have if you run into an issue. I'm not sure if I answered the question.
Definitely, yeah, thank you.
Okay, sort of, yeah, just started talking. Yeah. Is there any other questions? Oh, wait. I wanted to show more CSS, right? I totally like went on a tangent. But yeah, so since I separated all my stuff into components, I kind of went with the module CSS idea, which Andrew talks about in his tutorial. And I applied it to each of the things that were found in the component. So it's pretty cool because I feel like you can always find the style for the item that you care about easy. I have into issues because I still have this index or SAS file here that will impose one type of CSS on all the elements. And when I'm here, I'm also looking at the same elements, but more smaller. So it sometimes I'll find that this CSS file affects everything, and I have to, then that's when I go there and fix it as I go, and as I try to make it look how I want.
So do the rules in the CSS, the modular CSS, take precedence over the rules in the other one?
Yeah, they do, because that's what I'm seeing is what I'm seeing on my website. So there is stuff it's easy to like, try to play around with it though. So it's an easy way to test it, I think. Because if you see something that's off, but you applied some sort of style here, you can go to that index one and play around with it, and you'll see you need to be that it's shorter or it's smaller, like the padding. So then you could just fix it here.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
So for the components, you just import the CSS file and then it auto connects.
Yeah, so when I do like this header, my header, and I do some styling for my header, I import the styling into my header file, so it's imported here. And then when I import this component, that's header, into, I think I do it here. Or actually I do it into a file called layout, I believe. Yeah, so I import it here. Actually, no. Is it in the styles?
Oh, you do it there.
Yeah. No, I do it there. So yeah, it's up here. So then I just, I call the component here, and then I have the same thing for the footer. because this layout class will take any content or anything.
Oh, so that's add the class, right? So you have to, you import, wait.
Yeah.
Dot container. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so
So
you have to add like this class to each element in your component.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Then I take this, so it's kind of like built within itself, because then I take this layout, and that's what when I put it into all my sites, I believe. This layout, yeah, this layout is everywhere. So all the content that appears here will like enter the layout, and then we'll have the header and the footer. It's like a tree. But that is why it looks just very simple here. I just have the layout, and then my component landing, and then my story or my form down there.